It is Wednesday, the 15th of August, 2018. This is the Hot 7 Nightly News. I am lovely St. Amy Joseph. Thank you for joining us. Venezuelan officials are due here Thursday for talks with the St. Lucia government following the announcement that St. Lucia will require visas from Venezuelan visitors. National Security Minister Herman Gil Francis, who announced that the Venezuelans will be here come tomorrow, reiterated that the visa requirement is a security measure. The former Deputy Police Commissioner disclosed that on Monday he was handed a document by the Police Commissioner, Mr. Severin Morcheri, indicating that a number of Venezuelans have been arrested here for controlled drugs, possession of firearms, illegal entry, and money laundering. The minister revealed that he intends to organize a visit to some areas along the coast to show that visitors are able to penetrate St. Lucia's borders and that St. Lucia is vulnerable to an influx of Venezuelans who are engaged in illegal activity. In other news, Minister for National Security Herman Gil Francis is saying that there is absolutely no need for fear or panic on the part of customs and excise officers. Some of these officers have concerns about their job security in light of the planned implementation of a border control agency. But the minister assures that these fears are unnecessary. Solange Alfred tells us more in this report.
Customs and excise officers have been expressing fears in regards to job security in response to the implementation of the Government of St. Lucia border control system. The government plans to tighten security measures and create seamless passenger processing and reciprocal visa arrangements to ensure the safety of the nation against heightened security threats. Minister for National Security Herman Gil Francis assures that these fears are unsubstantiated.
From day one, when we came in as a government, we articulated that we are going to be proceeding with a border control system. And we said which departments would have been part and parcel of that system. Customs, the Immigration Department of the Police, the Marine Unit, and the Quarantine Division of the Ministry of Agriculture.
The minister highlights that a decision on who will head the border control system has not been identified as yet. However, a past customs controller has taken up the duty to head the committee for the time being.
As a past customs officer, to look into heading that committee for the time being. Eventually, when his recommendations come to us, we will make a decision as to the way forward.
The border control system will correlate the existing data with that retrieved using passport readers, thus reducing queues and delays at ports of entry. It is left to be seen who will be officially named as the head of the border control systems. Reporting for Hot 7 Nightly News, I am Solange Alfred.
Thank you very much, Solange. A seemingly damning documentary about St. Lucia coming from the island's French neighbor Martinique has been shot down by Tourism Minister Dominique Fede, who says the entire affair was blown out of context. Minister Fede says the documentary, which has been in the headlines for the past couple of weeks, had no effect on relations between St. Lucia and Martinique. Rochelle Gonzalez has more in this report.
The Minister with responsibility for tourism and information, Dominique Fede, has brushed off concerns about a documentary that momentarily placed a question mark over the relationship between St. Lucia and Martinique. In the documentary, St. Lucia was named as one of the most violent islands in the Caribbean and featured reports on serious crime and violence, as well as interviews with prominent St. Lucians. Today, Fede cleared the air, saying the document stemmed from a place of concern rather than a place of malice, as the producer is a genuine fan of St. Lucia. The journalist, he said, has written numerous pieces about St. Lucia, and until the last one, they were all positive. The document in question, he said, however, rose from an isolated event.
I think that what would have prompted it was the fact that there was an incident pertaining to a Martinique visitor who had quite emotionally come, and it was her first trip overseas, and then she had this very tragic incident at her hotel room, and that was pretty bad for her. So that sort of prompted it. It was very emotional. But I think that when you look at the incidents against tourists, Martinique continues to be one of the islands or destinations that are quite lucky, and it is quite rare as well.
Fede said the documentary gained rapid attention and momentum because it was a rare incident to have folk from Martinique being critical of St. Lucia. He also addressed the mayor of Castries, Peterson Francis's quick condemnation and damage control on the matter, saying it was all ado over nothing as St. Lucia remains a shining star in the eyes of Martinique visitors.
I think that most Martinicans have perhaps forgotten about it and continue to enjoy traveling to St. Lucia. I think one of the things that we need to make sure that we fix is the problem of facilitating Martinique customers that come into Port Castries via Express de Zile. And that is something that we are working along with the Immigration Department to see how we can get the Ministry of Home Affairs to come along with us to look at this problem more strategically. And I think that that is perhaps the biggest impediment.
Last week, the leader of the opposition, Philip J. Pierre, said the issue of crime should be highlighted and discussed rather than being swept under the carpet. Fede said the government has chosen to take more action rather than simply talk.
Our approach has been a comprehensive approach. It's been an intelligence-led approach. It's been one where we've also been looking to make sure that our economic and social sectors are also not contributing to the crime situation, which is why we have been working so hard to boost the economy. We had 3% growth last year, and which is why we've been trying to make sure that we have as many safety nets as possible. And this is why you have seen policies such as the reduction in VAT to bring about some reprieve and some relief on people on some of the onerous taxes and burdens which may have a negative impact on cost of living.
Thousands of Martinique nationals descended upon St. Lucia last week to enjoy the weekend-long Mercury Fest. Reporting for Hot 7 Nightly News, I am Rochelle Gonzalez.
Thank you very much, Rochelle. The St. Lucia Civil Service Association, CSA, will meet with the government negotiating team on Thursday, the 16th of August, to discuss non-financial terms and conditions of employment in respect of the general service. And on the following Thursday, that's the 23rd of August, it will meet with the GNT for negotiations in respect to Sir Arthur Lewis Community College. Following these meetings, the CSA will call out its members to a special general meeting to provide an update of the negotiations and to make plans for the next stage, which will involve wage and salary negotiations. The association says it will go the distance to secure better benefits for its members. The Civil Service Association, CSA, is gearing up for negotiations with the government negotiating team. Assistant General Secretary for Industrial Relations with the CSA, Max Stephen Oberton, says this time around there will be no 0% increase. He says the focus is to get the best deal possible for members.
We expect that through dialogue, compromise, we should be able to get the best deal, a good deal for our membership. Steadily with pay, which was there before, we want to reintroduce it. Things like insurance for members, a number of things, including, of course, the usually contentious matter of wage increase.
Historically, the Civil Service Association and the government negotiating team have been at loggerhead. Over the years of negotiating for the various trienniums, the Civil Service Association and the government negotiating team have reached a stalemate on many occasions. But Oberton says the association is heading into the negotiations with an open mind and an amicable posture.
We as CSA, we never had any sort of contention with any government. You know, we as an organization which represents workers, irrespective of which government is in office, our aim is to ensure that our members' concerns are addressed in the best possible manner. If the government is wrong, the government is wrong. If the worker is right, the worker is right. And irrespective of who is there, our aim is to ensure that we get the best for our membership.
The commencement of the negotiations between the CSA and the GNT will take place tomorrow, Thursday, the 16th of August 2018, at the Financial Center. Lovely St. Amy Joseph, Hot 7 Nightly News.
You're watching the Hot 7 Nightly News. When we come back, Information and Broadcasting Minister Dominic Fede tips his hat to Hot FM CEO Patrick Smith, and St. Lucia now boasts of an environmental reporting system to coordinate existing data and to generate new information on the state of the environment. These stories and more coming up after the break.